algo. So when the preposition doesn't match English well, you really want to make sure that you put it that way on your word list. So try to translate this one. I keep thinking about you. Sigo pensando en ti. I keep thinking about the concert. Sigo pensando en el concierto. Here's a longer one for you to translate. I keep thinking about what you said yesterday. Sigo pensando en lo que dijiste ayer. So did you get that one? Did you put the lo que in there? For you folks who are not familiar with lo que in Spanish, it is a must learn. It's not particularly difficult to learn, but once you actually get it and you start working it in, it's going to propel your Spanish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple links to videos that I did about lo que. They're going to be in the description section of this video for folks who are interested. Here's the same sentence with a very slight change. I keep thinking about what you did yesterday. That one should be easy since we just did the last one, right? Sigo. Hey everybody, Q Paul here. Welcome to my Spanish learning channel. Today we're going to be focusing on making sentences using lo que. Now, this is a super important construction in Spanish, and a lot of Spanish students have trouble identifying when it needs to be used in a sentence. When do I have to use lo que? When is it just que? But hopefully, after this lesson, you will not be one of those students. Here's a super easy way to remember when to use it. First, let's look at que with an accent mark. This means what? It's a question. It's an interrogative. ¿Qué buscas? ¿Qué buscas? Which means, what are you looking for, or what do you look for? Most often it means the first. What are you looking for? Now, if you're not familiar with the verb buscar, it means to look for. You don't have to translate the for part. Let's look at another one. ¿Qué quieres? ¿Qué quieres? What do you want? That que with an accent is translating what as in a question. Now, I want you to compare the question word what with another way we use it in English. Take a look at this sentence. You know what I want. You know what I want. Now, the what here is not a question word, is it? It's referring more to that which I want or the thing that I want, but we just use what. Well, when you see this usage in English, this is going to trigger lo que, no accent on the E, in Spanish. Tú sabes lo que quiero. Tú sabes lo que quiero. You know what I want. See, we're using lo que to translate that what in English because it's not the question what. Sometimes it helps people to think of lo que as also being translated like that which. Would it make sense to say, you know that which I want? Sure, it sounds a little awkward in English, but it is a good way to remind you that lo que needs to be there. And it's also two words, so it reminds you sometimes to use two words in Spanish. Let's take a look at some other sentences, and you decide if it's just que with an accent, meaning what, which is a true question, or lo que, meaning that which. Now, depending on your level of Spanish, you may not know all of the vocabulary used in these examples or how to translate certain parts of the sentence, but hey, that's okay. If you never push yourself and leave your comfort zone, your Spanish is never going to get better. So I want to kind of help you do that. I want to help you get better a little bit each day. So here's our first sentence. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to accomplish? So is that the que with an accent mark or the lo que without an accent? Clearly this is a question, so it's the que with an accent. ¿Qué quieres lograr? ¿Qué quieres lograr? What do you want to accomplish? If you don't know that verb lograr, you might want to throw it into your vocabulary. It's useful for like accomplishing goals, objectives, things like that. Compare that to this sentence. What I want to accomplish is to establish a good working relationship with my colleagues. I know that's a long one, right? It's just to give you an example. Remember, push yourself. Okay, so this is not a question word. What is not being used as an interrogative here, right? So we know we're going to be using lo que. And yes, lo que can start a sentence. Lo que quiero lograr es establecer una buena relación laboral con mis colegas. So think that which I want to accomplish is. Maybe that's easier for you to remember to use the lo que. So you can tweak that formula a little bit.
Got a little quick GG in there.
Which means to make or to do. What do you want to do? ¿Qué quieres hacer? What do you want to do? That's the what again, the question word. Well, I could respond with something like, what I want to do is, that what is not the question word, right? So it's lo que, no accent. Lo que quiero hacer es, that which I want to do, or the thing that I want to do is, it's a good sentence starter. Okay, hopefully by this point in the video, you're starting to get the whole K with an accent thing down, because you use it that way most of all anyway, right? So let's do some sentences with just lo que. I'll give you some to work with. I don't understand what Juan wants. I don't understand what Juan wants. No entiendo lo que quiere Juan. No entiendo lo que quiere Juan. How'd you do on that one? Feel free to stop the video if you want to and kind of work through these, or even if you want to write them down. So here's another one. I heard what Maria said. I heard what Maria said. You got a couple options with this. Escuché lo que dijo María. And Spanish word order is a little bit more flexible. Escuché lo que María dijo. You might be wondering why I use the verb escuchar instead of oír, which means to hear. Now generally I'll use oír if I hear a sound or a noise or something like that, but sometimes I'll still use escuchar. And I don't know if that's more of a Mexican thing that I picked up there, but if I'm listening to someone, like hearing what they're telling me, I'm going to be using escuchar. Here's another one for you. What I mean is that I don't want to go to the beach. What I mean is that I don't want to go to the beach. Lo que quiero decir es que no quiero ir a la playa. Lo que quiero decir es que no quiero ir a la playa. And if you're not familiar with, like, I mean, in Spanish there's a couple different ways to say that, but one of them is, I want to say. Quiero decir, right? Lo que quiero decir, hey, that which I want to say, I'm trying to say, es que no quiero ir a la playa. Is that I don't want to go to the beach. Now that second K there, we didn't talk about it in this video, but I do talk about it in another video where I kind of compare the K with an accent, the K by itself like this, and the lo que. This one is best translated as that. So our first lo que is that which, or what I want to say, right? But not the question. Lo que quiero decir is que, that, no quiero ir a la playa. I don't want to go to the beach. Let's move on to the next one. What I admire about my parents is their tenacity. What I admire about my parents is their tenacity. Lo que admiro de mis padres es su tenacidad. Lo que admiro, that which I admire, de mis padres,
yeah, it's actually fucking terrifying.
Of my parents, es su, is their tenacidad. Tenacidad. This is actually a cognate trick, the TY to DAD, if you've ever learned that. Here's another one for you. Do you know what I'm feeling? Do you know what I'm feeling? Now, if you're hearing this in a relationship, you're probably in some really big trouble, so you don't want to necessarily hear this. ¿Sabes lo que siento? ¿Sabes lo que siento? Now, did you still do lo que, or did it throw you off because I was making it a question? This